It was supposed to be a casual, comedic exchange between late-night host Stephen Colbert and actor-comedian Seth Rogen. Known for his easygoing charm and humor, Seth walked onto the set with his signature laugh and confidence. The audience welcomed him warmly, expecting a light-hearted conversation full of jokes and anecdotes. But things took an unexpected turn when Colbert shifted gears, asking about politics, social commentary, and Rogen's personal views on free speech and cancel culture. Seth, never one to back down, responded honestly. However, his tone began to spark tension. Colbert's follow-up questions got sharper, and the mood shifted fast. Stephen leaned forward, pressing Seth on past remarks he had made in interviews and online. "You've been outspoken on a lot of issues," Colbert began. "Do you think that sometimes your comedy crosses the line?" Seth chuckled at first, then responded, "Comedy's job isn't to stay in line, it's to say what others won't." The audience gave a mixed reaction. Some laughed, others paused. Colbert narrowed his eyes. "But where do you draw the line?" he asked. Seth replied bluntly, "I draw the line at censorship disguised as morality." That's when it got tense. The smiles started fading. This wasn't going to be routine. Colbert tried to challenge Seth's logic, citing examples of jokes that caused controversy. "But don't you think some things just aren't funny anymore?" he asked. Seth shook his head. "No," he said. "What changes is who gets offended. But comedy doesn't work if it's sanitized." The conversation suddenly turned serious, and the energy in the room grew thick. Viewers watching live sensed the tension mounting. Seth wasn't trying to be provocative, he was just being real. But Colbert, known for witty takedowns and controlled interviews, didn't seem prepared for a guest who refused to apologize for his thoughts. Then came the tipping point. Colbert made a comment implying that Seth's humor had become outdated and insensitive in today's culture. "Do you think your style of comedy still has a place in this era?" he asked. Seth raised an eyebrow. "You mean an era where comedians get cancelled for saying what everyone's thinking?" The crowd gasped. Some clapped, others stayed silent. Colbert tried to laugh it off, but Seth didn't budge. "We used to challenge authority. Now, comedians are expected to tiptoe around everything. That's not art, that's fear." The audience was stunned. This wasn't a promo tour. It was a battle of beliefs. Colbert, clearly uncomfortable, tried to pivot to a commercial break, but Seth wasn't done. "You brought me here to talk," he said, "so let's talk." The interruption flustered Colbert, who wasn't used to losing control of the conversation. Producers backstage signaled to cut to break, but the tension was already viral-worthy. Seth continued, "We're in a weird place where people demand truth, but punish those who speak it. What happened to debate? What happened to listening?" His words resonated. Whether you agreed or disagreed, it was clear Seth was speaking from experience, and he wasn't backing down. Colbert finally said, "Well, we like to keep things light here," trying to diffuse the moment. Seth didn't flinch. "You can't invite real people on your show and expect fake conversations," he replied. The audience again responded with mixed emotions. Some cheered, others looked confused. The whole room could feel the divide. Colbert's grin thinned. He glanced off stage, clearly signaling to his crew this wasn't going the way he had planned. Seth had taken the show from satire to serious, and Colbert couldn't keep up. The conversation, no longer edited by applause lines, felt raw, unfiltered, and very, very real. Behind the scenes, reports say producers were panicking. This wasn't just off script, it was off-brand. Seth was supposed to be the funny guy, not the truth-teller, but here he was, challenging assumptions, defending comedy, and holding the line on artistic freedom. Colbert finally announced a commercial break mid-sentence. When the cameras stopped rolling, the tension didn't. Sources say Colbert confronted Seth about disrespecting the show's tone. Seth replied, I didn't disrespect it. I just didn't play along. Moments later, it was announced that Seth wouldn't return for the second half of the segment. The audience never saw him again that night. News of the clash spread like wildfire. Clips from the show circulated online within minutes. Hashtags like Seth Rogen Unfiltered and Colbert Showdown trended worldwide. Fans of Rogen praised his courage to speak truth in a controlled setting. Critics debated his tone, but even they admitted he hadn't been dishonest. Colbert's team issued a carefully worded statement the next morning, calling it a creative disagreement, and thanking Seth for appearing. But the damage was done. What was meant to be a laugh-filled interview became one of the most talked-about segments of the year, and not because of a joke. Seth, when asked later about the incident, simply said, "I'm a comedian. I speak my mind. That's the job." He didn't apologize, didn't backtrack. Instead, he stood firm on the idea that comedy is meant to challenge, not conform. "If we start writing jokes based on what won't offend people," he added, "we'll stop writing jokes altogether." His stance reignited debates across the entertainment world. What is the role of a comedian today? Should shows like Colbert's allow for real conversations or just stick to safe punchlines? Regardless of the answers, one thing was clear: Seth had forced the question. In the end, Seth Rogen's fiery exchange on Colbert's show became more than a viral moment. It became a cultural checkpoint. A reminder that free speech, comedy, and media don't always play nice together. And sometimes, when a guest refuses to play by the script, the truth sneaks out. Whether you admired Seth's bravery or questioned his delivery, he made one thing impossible to ignore. Comedy isn't supposed to make everyone comfortable. It's supposed to make people think. And for one unforgettable night on live TV, that's exactly what it did.